Hello and welcome to the Net Report NFL Week 2 edition. We're quickly going to run down, both Chris and myself, all the game breaking action, scores, and highlights, as well as all the major news from all the games in Week 2. Chris, I think we can safely say that Week 2 can be currently titled as the week of unexpected upsets.
No, ton of upsets, man.
If you were betting on money lines, I'm sorry, because you
Shoot,
probably were either sweating a bunch of games or you lost a lot of parlays.
if you were in a survivor pool, I feel bad for you. Sorry, Tariq. Salute like he just did. But yeah,
Salute to your pick later.
I think I saw like 50% of survivor pools were like killed this week. So just overall, so many upsets. But we're gonna go game by game, kind of give some our analysis. We're gonna start with the Bills versus Dolphins Thursday night football. The Bills defeat the Dolphins. I believe it was 31-10, and that really wasn't the story of the game. Of course, as we all know, Tua Tagovailoa ended up getting his third major concussion in the last 2 years, and it's really unfortunate to see. As for like, we'll touch on the Bills real quick before we dive really deep into that. But Bills, they kind of did what I expected. I mean, I know they weren't favored going into the game. I had them winning that game just because Miami prime time against great teams has never been particularly great. Their defense looks as good as ever, and Josh Allen looks great. That's very basic analysis, but I think the bigger story here is Tua, and it's just unfortunate, man. It really is. He was just placed on IR a couple hours ago, and I wouldn't expect to see him for a while.
No, I mean you're right. This is probably most unexpectedly good Bills defense we've seen in a while. Granted, 2 weeks into the season, so we'll see how it holds up through the length of it. But a lot of new faces. They lost a lot of people in free agency, so a little unexpected. But even out the gate before the Tua injury in the second half, I want to say it was in the fourth quarter that it occurred.
Hmm.
Maybe it was late in the third, but the entire first half, I mean, was dominated
Hmm.
by Buffalo. They went into halftime with 24-10 lead. James Cook, I think, by halftime had 3 touchdowns. He himself looked unstoppable. I mean, the Bills scored 31 points, and Josh Allen didn't even throw 20 passes.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, this game definitely didn't help the Josh Allen MVP case as far as stats, but I mean, 2-0 is insane for these Bills, and yeah, I mean, this defense for them really, I mean, it's outside of their defensive line, I'll say it's kind of a bunch of not unknowns and nobodies, but this secondary is kind of made up with a bunch of guys you're probably not too familiar with. They're kind of
Hmm.
like mid-tier guys. But this defensive line it really is nasty. They've got a great linebacker core, just a great edge rushers. Um, on the Miami side, they're looking at being, in all fairness, a bottom 10 team unless Tua gets back healthy. He's out for 4 weeks for sure now. They just signed Tyler Huntley. They have Skylar Thompson. So they'll be lucky to go 1-3 in their next four. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, thoughts and prayers go out to Tua. He really needs to reevaluate his personal safety over playing for the team. But this comes with the territory, unfortunately. It's high football is tough. But as far as from a football standpoint and analysis, those look they look like the best
Hmm.
team in the AFC East, and it's not even really close. I would say like they might go 6-0 in the division with the way it's looking right now. And that's kind of an overreaction, but
I don't know if
that's
I'd
the
go
way it
that
looks at least
far,
right now.
but like you said, that defense has looked incredible. We haven't seen counting stats really from Josh Allen and just the offenses outside of James Cook, who's looked phenomenal, but it's really that defense. That's where it all starts, and it's been surprising this year. But not surprising, I should say, but more like I don't think we expected it to be kind of this pronounced, especially against a team like Miami. But
Yeah, I mean, they straight up shut down Hill and Waddle. Like there
mm,
was no off even
for
when
forced three turnovers, two a picks.
even when Tua was like healthy and playing, they just looked completely discombobulated. Devon Achane was the only thing that was working for them on offense.
Hmm.
Moving on because we have a whole lot of other games to get into. I would say by and large the biggest upset. I mean, as far as just the score alone, Saints completely dismantling the
Definitely.
Cowboys in Dallas. Total score 44-19, but it was over by halftime. I mean, Alvin Kamara, 4 touchdown game. And after last week, we were a little skeptical of how high powered and sustainable this offense was with the not the Chiefs, the Saints, but Clint Kubiak got something cooking. Like
No,
he's
he most
cooking
certainly
it.
does.
This is one of the best defenses in all of football with the Cowboys, and I, I mean, by the midway through the second quarter, Derek Carr was like 6 for 6 for 200
Mm-hmm.
yards and was making it look easy. And they're
Cra-
not even really involving Chris Olave that much. It's just they're just making huge plays.
Crazy stat too, and it's been posted a lot. I'm sure some of y'all have heard it. He let Derek Carr and the Saints 15 their first 15 drives, 15 scores, whether it was field
Yeah,
goal, touchdown, they scored on their first 15 drives, and that just feels like unheard of from the Saints, who just struggled so badly last year. It's amazing what Kubiak's doing over there and how
most
what
teams.
an offensive coordinator can do for you. I mean, the run game has been amazing. I think Alvin Kamara has, I think, slightly over 190 yards from scrimmage, if I remember correctly. They've had Jamal Williams even involved. Some of it's been in garbage time, but like they've had these guys running, like they're running down people's throats, even the Cowboys, who are a really good defense. It's incredible to see. Derek Carr has looked good too. Something not really we didn't expect. Rashid Shaheed might be breaking out. There's a lot here, and it looks they're not gonna drop 40 every week like we've seen, but there's some sustainability here. I mean, even if they take 2 steps back, this is still a high functioning offense, which is huge because they've always been a pretty decent defense.
It's sustainable in the sense that they play in one of the weaker divisions, I would say.
Hmm.
They still get to play Carolina again. They get to play Atlanta 2 more times. And I mean, we'll talk about Atlanta later. I'm not really a believer in anything to do with their defense. They have to play the Bucks twice, and we'll see. But the Bucks aren't elite defensively, but uh, this is going to be a problem team for sure. They're going to make the playoffs. The Saints are. I don't know they're going to win the division yet. They're a playoff team. They look
They're
good. Derek
looking good right
Carr's
now.
looked the. This is the best Derek Carr has looked since midway through his Raiders run,
That one year where he was like, I want to say fourth in
2016,
MVP, where he looked really good for a while.
2016. Yeah,
And it really can be just as simple as you brought in the offensive coordinator, and it's his second year now. He has more familiarity with the team. I mean, it goes a long way. So
agree.
really
No,
can be
hundred
just
percent.
that.
Moving on though,
Hmm.
we had another NFC matchup. Bucks win a squeaker in Detroit, 20-16, taking out the Lions. Just again, Baker Mayfield and the Bucks getting it done. I thought the Lions looked great offensively, as far as involving a lot of their pass catchers and just as an overall, getting everyone involved. I mean, the box score at least will show you that. Much more on Monte Brown this week than last week, but they couldn't punch it in. I mean, one touchdown for the game. When you're throwing the ball 55 times, and again, going back to what I was saying earlier, Baker Mayfield won the game. Didn't throw 20 passes. I mean, they kind of just controlled the game, and it wasn't even like they had a dominant run game. They just
Nope.
put themselves in good positions, made good decisions. They kind of let for the most part, the Lions beat themselves in a lot of positions. It's kind of what happens when you're uber aggressive sometimes. You kind of beat yourself. But at the end of the day, 2-0 Bucks. I mean, Baker, he didn't look as great this week as he did last week, but 2-0 is 2-0.
Yeah, like you said, man. I mean, even without that run game looking too good, I mean, Rashad White hasn't looked good all year. Bucky Irvin's had some nice moments, but that offense with Baker, I mean, you've got him throwing to Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. They're both looked good this year, especially Chris Godwin, man. Like,
Off to a hot start.
it's looking, again, I don't want to overreact because it's like, okay, how many of these teams can really sustain it? But it's looking somewhat sustainable. I don't know if I'd pencil them in the playoffs yet, but they're still looking like they're going to be in that division race all year.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's looking, it's them and the Saints,
Hmm.
and I think it's pretty much just them and the Saints. But moving on to another really close, low-scoring game. Malik Willis won a game. Um, who saw that coming?
I don't think any of us
Green
saw
Bay.
that coming.
Nope. Green Bay wins their home opener against the Indianapolis Colts, 16-10. Malik Willis didn't look bad. He didn't look great, but he did what Matt LaFleur asked him to do. Anthony Richardson looked very inaccurate again for the second week in a row. I am kind of surprised. I think the big story here is that Jonathan Taylor averaged a little over 9 yards a carry and only got 12 carries in a very close game. I'd love to hear the rationale from Steichen on that one, but Anthony Richardson, for the most part, was just incredibly accurate. And Malik Willis just did what was asked of him. I mean,
Hmm.
this is kind of a weird one. They kind of just from the beginning of the game, the Packers said, "Hey, Josh Jacobs, we're going to give you 100 carries this game, and just don't fumble the ball." It's just kind of a ground and pound game for the Packers here. If they can get a couple more of these games, it sounds like Jordan Love might not play Week 3. Um, they can squeak out one more win with Malik Willis. That's pretty
Hmm.
good.
And I
And
do.
the big thing here for the Colts, inaccuracy from the young QB.
Mhm. I do want to touch on that too for the Packers. Just getting this win's absolutely massive, not falling to 0-2, where they really, most people had them losing. I mean, even some people picked the Colts on their survivor pools. That's how many people were sure they were going to lose with Malik Willis. If you eke out another win next week, and Jordan Love comes back week 4, this team's looking very good. They can still win the division. They don't fall into that hole. Lions lost too. Absolutely massive for Green Bay.
100%. 100%. Kind of another very mid boring game coming up here. Jets Titans. Jets take on the Titans in Tennessee, win 24-17. Um, Aaron Rodgers looked more comfortable and better than he did in week 1. Still don't feel like it's all connecting and clicking for them. But on the flip side, Will Levis again just doesn't look good. Like he's just continual like stupid mistakes. Like as a team, they're turning the ball over on such stupid plays, fumbling the ball in the red zone, getting a punt blocked again back to back weeks. Like these are losing plays. And it's not even like his playmakers played bad for Will Levis. Pollard and Calvin Ridley made an insane catch. It was a good throw, dangerous though, but made an incredible catch from Will
Hmm.
Levis. Calvin Ridley has that explosive play in him as well as the drop sometimes, but Jets win it. The more I watch of Aaron Rodgers and this team, the less I believe in them to kind of be a playoff team. You can tell his mobility's not there. Like he doesn't look as mobile. He's not connecting with the receivers as much. The line is better than it has been in years, but it's still not great. Um, we'll see. I think for the Jets to be successful, they're gonna really, really have to hope to win some division games for sure. They're gonna need to hope they can go 4-2 in the division, um, or else they're not gonna sniff a playoff spot.
Yeah, they're gonna have to rely on that ground and pound game, and it's looking like a slow start from them. I don't think any of us expected them to hit the ground running like crazy, but even the struggle against the Titans was a little disappointing. And they didn't particularly look great this game either, the Titans. But
Mm-mm.
we have trap games like this all the time. There were some other teams that actually lost their trap games. We're gonna get into in a moment. So they got the W. We'll see how it goes going forward. I mean, 1 week at a time.
Chris, speaking of Jets quarterbacks, do you also see ghosts anymore?
I I I did once upon a time, not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, good. Because neither does Sam Darnold, because he is a mother freaking baller now. Homie is a certified baller. Holy moly, no one, I swear to
Not
God,
anymore.
no one saw this
Hmm.
coming.
No,
If
not at
someone
all.
says they saw this coming,
They lied. They
they're
lied.
Sam Darnold's dad,
I
and that's it.
don't even think his own
Like,
mom saw this coming. Like,
holy crap. 2-0 Sam
hmm.
Darnold? I would have bet my life savings he didn't go 2-0 this season.
Hmm.
But holy moly, they beat the Niners.
And they've just looked
Oh,
impressive. I mean, I looked
oh
like
yeah, they did.
game breaking plays like 97-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. This is not stuff we expected under a Sam Darnold led team. 49ers once again looked
97
sloppy.
yards from the end zone, bro. That was
Hmm.
such a beautiful pass. That was chef's kiss deep ball by Sam Darnold. Like, I'm convinced the Jets organization has done more harm than good to the entire NFL. Like,
The Panthers also. The Panthers also. I mean, we're talking about Darnold and Baker. Like, man,
it's
man.
insane.
But
Insane.
this is a huge loss for the 49ers. They didn't particularly look great offensively. It's kind of surprising. I mean, yes, they're without McCaffrey and Debo got hurt, but this is a game you have to win. You
Kittle
absolutely
got
have.
hurt midway through the game
And yeah,
too.
Kittle
In all fairness,
stretchered out as well. But even still, man, like,
a lot of their yards and stats kind of came in not garbage time, but kind of came in the fourth quarter.
mhm,
They couldn't get anything going in this entire game. Brian Flores' defense is playing ferocious,
mhm.
and they're just kind of playing off the offense. It's just it's weird that they kind of feel like they have more swagger now with Darnold than they did with like Kirk O. Cousins. Like it's weird. They're just playing with such swagger right now.
And I will say this, I'm not trying to overreact too much because the Niners are still probably heavy favorites, the best team in the NFC. But
Oh, this is more.
things like this make me think maybe the NFC is wide open. Maybe it's not as far of a divide as we may think it is, especially before the season. But
I mean, I always question the Niners being a lock. I think to win the conference. What I would say is this is more impactful for the Vikings than it is for the
oh,
Niners. I
100%.
feel it's much more of a you can overcome this loss if you're the Niners. It sucks because you're gonna. It's the NFL. It's hard to win football games. It is. The reality is, it's just teams don't go undefeated. Like it doesn't happen. But like this is huge. Like for a team that lost their starting rookie quarterback in the preseason, Sam Darnold's just thrust in here. Like good for Sam Darnold. Like this is awesome to see.
Love those redemption stories.
Speaking of redemption stories, Seahawks beat the Patriots. Not happy about it. Malcolm Butler was the lighthouse ringer, but it didn't matter because Gerard Mayo's inexperience and clock management showed and kind of let the Seahawks win this game 23-20. Really a game I thought we should have won or we had the ability to win, but it's becoming clear like Jacoby Brissett just it ain't it. It
Not
ain't
that
it,
guy.
man.
I mean,
Not him. But I'd rather Jacoby Brissett take all these hits than poor Drake May because we'll get into it later with Caleb Williams. These rookies are getting beat
it's
down.
bad. It's really bad. I mean, between like I said, we'll get into it. Bo Nix, Caleb Williams. Ooh, man. Oof.
But yeah, I mean, listen, Geno Smith and DK were on money today. Like
Oh yeah.
they were insane today. But hey, shout out to the Patriots run game. Antonio Gibson, and Ramondre Stevenson, monsters this game. Speaking of monsters, defensive end Keon White for the Patriots is him. He is going to be a generational pass rusher. I don't know how y'all let us get him when we snapped back-to-back weeks. Keep an eye out for Keon White.
Okay, okay. I'm
We,
gonna have to keep
I,
my eye out for him because I haven't been watching too much Patriots football, but I'll keep my eye out for him.
I digress. A rookie won a football game. Well, I guess Caleb Williams won last week, but I don't know how you consider that a win. But Jaden Daniels won.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get a single touchdown as a team. And they beat the Giants, who had 3 touchdowns. Make that math work.
Hey, it happens sometimes, man. I mean, it's the bottom of the NFC East, which I guess that's technically they're not at the bottom because we got a couple tied 1-1. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I
Shout out to
mean,
Austin Seibert. 7 field goals.
that's
7. He
insane.
went
How
7
many?
for 7.
That's insane. I don't think a single person we know had him in fantasy, but that one person that had him in fantasy,
No, they signed him this week. They got him off the street this
yeah.
week.
So that there's one person in the world who had him, the one Commanders fan in the world that had him, but crazy.
It's crazy. This Commanders win 21-18 over the New York Giants.
Mhm.
F in the chat, Tariq. I'm sorry. At least Malik Neighbors looks like he's
He
him.
does. He looks really good. I mean, if that's one silver
Daniel
lining,
Jones looked less. Daniel Jones looked less terrible this week than he did last week. He looked fine. But again, I really don't know where to go with this one other than how do you lose a game
Mhm.
where you don't give up a single touchdown? I'm sorry, Brian Dable. I really am sorry.
He's not.
No, he's getting paid, but I feel bad. I really like Brian Dable, but he's gonna
No,
get
we do. We
fired,
talked about it
man.
last week, and
I feel
it's
so bad for that
unfortunate.
guy. Worst franchises, however, Panthers managed to only score 3 points this week and only managed to give up 26 points to the Los Angeles Chargers, who currently have the best free agency signing in of all with J.K. Dobbins, who is a god. Thank God for his health.
Mhm.
And this is just, I mean, without trash talking the Panthers some more, this Jim Harbaugh came out and said it when he got with his team. They're going to be a running offense.
Mhm.
They're a running offense, all right. I wish they would let Justin Herbert kind of do more with his arm and his ability to be quarterback, but because he doesn't have those pass catchers, I mean uh Quentin Johnson, I think his name is,
Mhm. Looked good. 2
best
touchdowns.
game of his career so
Mhm.
far. I mean, by far. But I mean, Chargers and Jim Harbaugh 2-0. I mean, they're
Yeah.
off to a hot start.
I think
They really haven't beaten anyone crazy, I would say. But hey, 2-0 is 2-0. I would really like to see them let Justin Herbert ball a little bit more, though.
Mhm. I think the crazy part is too, we didn't I think we weren't expecting this run game under Jim Harbaugh to be good off the bat just because you didn't have a bell cow. Like we didn't see J.K. Dobbins as a bell cow, Gus
We were
Edwards as a
thinking
bell
Gus
cow.
Edwards was the starter, and it's
And
like,
it's
come on, Gus Edwards, guys, really?
but I mean, they're split. They got that backfield split. They're making it work, and it
Yeah.
really is. It's a typical Jim Harbaugh team, and they're gonna have. I think once you the vision down the line, maybe a year or two, you get a couple pass catchers to really help Justin Herbert. It can still be a run first team that's very functional under Justin Herbert. So I like the
This
vision
is
so
why you
far.
draft. This is why you draft
Draft up. Mm-hmm.
generational offensive
Yep.
tackles like Joe Alt. This is why you draft generational offensive tackles like Joe Alt.
Mm-hmm.
You can block, you can
Slater
run.
too.
If you can, if you can run, you can throw the play action. Winning formulas. It's not that hard.
Yeah. But hey, let's not overreact. It's the Raiders and the Panthers. We'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Yeah,
But
no, I
I'm
mean I
liking what
mentioned
I've
that. Like
seen
they're
so
two
far.
cupcake wins, but again, it's hard to win in the NFL even against bad teams. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta take your wins where you can get them.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of winless teams, when are we gonna talk about Trevor Lawrence?
I think I saw a stat that blew my mind. You might have been the one who told me. The
He
Jaguars'
hasn't
last
won
win.
since
Yep.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving
He hasn't won
last
since
year.
Thanksgiving. I think
Absolutely
he's 0 and
insane.
7 in his
Mm-hmm.
last 7, dating back to last season.
And it's
When are we
getting
gonna start talking about?
it's getting pretty bad. I mean, we've talked about it. Christian Kirk no show 2 weeks in a row. You have Brian Thomas now as that best receiver. Their offense just hasn't looked good, and it's really. I mean, there's things that could have been done over the past 2 weeks, like to prevent, like that Travis Etienne fumble comes to mind, but even still, like it should not be this much of a struggle for this team. This was a team that last year should have ran away with the division, and we're still waiting for them to take that next step. It's frustrating, and I'm not even a Jaguars fan.
Oh yeah, I mean you lose Calvin Ridley, but you replace him with
Hmm.
Brian Thomas. Like okay, Brian Thomas, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk. Like that's solid. Like, Evan Ingram's out this week. I get it. ETN looks great. I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing, but what's going on? Like it is losing to the Browns, man. Like
Hmm.
Deshaun Watson, you can't lose to Deshaun Watson, bro. Trevor Lawrence has 10 touchdowns and 7 picks in his last 7 games. Like, unacceptable. They're
It,
frustrating,
it it
man.
is against a good Browns defense too, but still,
I,
still,
I,
it's not even the
it's
loss.
inexcusable. I'm
It's just
sorry.
it's the nosedive and how it hasn't gotten better. Like if they had lost 38-37 and the offense looked on, I'd be like, okay, but it just hasn't.
No, it's. I mean, shout out to the Browns if they won a game. I'm gonna say it now. Jacksonville's a couple more losses away from Doug Peterson being on the hot, like a serious hot seat midway through the
No,
season.
yeah,
Like
I think he'd
next
make it
week
to
is
the.
a
I think he'd make it to the end of the season unless something catastrophic happened, but it's getting close to that time.
I mean, they're in a must-win game for Week 3. It's pretty sure it's either Sunday Night Football or it's Monday Night Football in Buffalo.
Yeah,
That's tough.
I'm definitely not favored in that game either. It's gonna be tough. 0-3, you're not coming back from.
No, I'm sorry. You're not talented enough. Speaking
But
of talented people, Brock Bowers. I
I
love Brock Bowers.
was gonna say we can segue also from the AFC North just being weird. Ravens. What happened? Like,
We can't even say what happened.
what happened?
They do
I
this
mean,
all the time. This is like the John Harbaugh
I
special.
I'd expect it. I'd expect it from the Bengals, which we'll get into later also. But this division's just flipped on its head right now. You have the Steelers two and well, I'm already jumping ahead way too much, but it's
You
weird. I
said
mean,
2-1 is insane.
I said 2-0, but okay.
Whatever. But Ravens like what had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter or midway through the fourth quarter and managed to lose this game 26 to
Hmm.
23 to Garner Minshew. No offense, Garner Minshew, but like shout out to an Antonio Pierce. I mean, I'm happy for him for getting this win in Baltimore. But the Ravens fall to 0-2, 0-1 at home now. I mean, again, you're going into week 3 in a must-win game. They had it on a stat on ESPN the other day. It was like teams who go 0-7 have like a 7% chance of making it to the playoff, like historically. You don't want to go down 0-2. You did. I don't imagine if you go down 0-3,
Hmm.
your
I
chances are
think I
probably a
remember
lot
I
slimmer
did
than
the video
7.
last year, and I almost want to say it was like a 10% chance. I'd have to go look at the stats again, but it is something like that. And you don't see it very often. We saw the Bengals do it a couple years ago, but the Ravens sure enough have the talent. But man, this is just and in a competitive division too. It's not a good look.
No, I was really hoping for more of a showcase for the Ravens after kind of getting their hearts broken in week 1 to the Chiefs. I did not see that at all. They played fine for most of this game, but I mean, Justin Tucker misses 2 field goals or a field goal. I know he missed at least 1 field goal. I
Hmm.
can't recall if he missed 2 or not. He missed 1 like he missed 1 last week. I was just really hoping for more of a dominant performance, and just again, their defense kind of got bullied a little bit. But shout out to the Raiders. I don't see the Raiders winning that many games, but good for them.
Yeah,
Uh, going to a divisional battle in the NFC, Rams, Cardinals. I picked the Rams to win.
yeah. You know, you can't predict injuries though, and that's kind of just
It
the
wouldn't have
Rams
mattered.
season. It's I mean,
I
no,
don't think
but
it would have I don't think it would have mattered because Kyler Murray came out and balled. Marvin Harrison came out and balled. No one on the Rams did. 41-10. They got smoked.
and it's looking like it's gonna be a long season. You got Puka out now, you got Cooper Cup out, and really you're just the receiving core. You're looking at Tutu Atwell, Demarcus Robinson, like
It's Demarcus Robinson and that Will Smith meme where he's like sitting
by
in the living room from Fresh Prince of Bel Air looking around like it's
himself.
just him.
Hey,
Yeah, it's just him. Demarcus Robinson's like, uh-oh.
respect Tutu Atwell, man.
No, I will not respect Tutu Atwell. I mean, it's so bad that if with the injuries, it's on the offensive line too.
Hmm.
Like I've already seen reports come from ESPN. It's like the Rams might consider trading Matt Stafford at this point.
Hmm. It
Like
might be it's
it's
tank season, full tank season.
it's
It's only
and
two
it's not
games in.
even like I don't know what they're supposed to do. Like their entire offensive line is injured. Their like essentially 1A, 1B receivers are out at least 4 weeks each. Looking like 6 to 8 for both of them. Tough sledding. But on the flip side, whoo,
That Kyler that
this Cardinals offense is gonna be nasty.
and I think we all expected it coming in. That Kyler Marvin Harrison connection, just elite. Like you don't get usually
It's
see receivers who are generational like this end up like with good QBs right off the bat, like or at least above average QB play. So it's really fun to see Marvin Harrison get Kyler right out the gate. It really reminds me a little bit of Burrow and Chase off the gate, not to the same extent, but you know we don't see it a lot. So
yeah,
it's fun. You're
a
not
little
dealing
bit.
with
And
you're not dealing with Malik Neighbors who has Daniel Jones. Like sorry for the Giants
Mhm.
shot, but it's fun to
Yeah,
see.
and I think again, I'm gonna harp back to what I said earlier. They're running the ball effectively,
Hmm.
and because they're running the ball so effectively with James Conner, they're stacking the box. They're playing a little more aggressive up front to kind of stop the run from James Conner, who's bullying people. What does that open up? Play action, deep shots. They kind of get some more motion in there. Like this is just winning football. And of course it's going to work. James Conner is a ground and pound kind of guy. He's your bell cow. Here's 21 carries. Guess what? We only need to probably throw it 19, 25 times. As long as we get 200 and 250 yards out of that, couple tutties, there's game. Rams got some soul searching to do. Cardinals look like they're going to fight for that wild card spot. I still don't see them taking over the division, but it's fun. NFC, like you said, kind of not wide open, but maybe question mark wide open.
Wide open at the top and fun at the in the middle.
Definitely some fun dark horses that I'd love to see make a run. Two teams that I would not like to see make a run and won't make a run. Steelers and Broncos. Shout out Justin Fields. I've always loved Justin Fields. I'm happy he's 2-0. They win this game 13-16, which is an ugly score, but it's probably the most Steelers score ever. Um, Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix didn't look good again. Not really. That's his fault. He's a rookie. He's gonna be bad or subpar. Justin Fields looked good. I mean, again, like I said with a couple other guys, just did what was asked of him.
Hmm.
Najee Harris has looked great this year. Kind of again just controlling the offense on the ground. Um, not really much here to say outside of the Broncos'
No.
offense is terrible. Steelers did what they had to do to win on the road. 2-0. It's not really indicative of where I think they're going to go in the playoffs, but 2-0 is 2-0.
Yeah, it's Steelers football in a nutshell. You're playing great
It's
defense
ugly.
and the offense is really ugly, but they find a way to win. This is how they end up 9-8 every year. You're gonna see nine
Yep.
and eight by the end of the year.
There
Look
were
at this
so
and be
many
like,
Big Ben teams that were just ugly, ugly
mm-hmm,
offense. But they were 9-8, 10-7. It happens.
mm-hmm.
Ugly football can still be winning football,
Especially against bad teams.
especially against bad teams. Broncos are going to be so bad this year. God. Chiefs and Bengals. What a game.
Definitely a game. Went down to the wire, and once again, I mean, they looked a lot better this week, but the Bengals start the season off 0-2. It's becoming a major theme where they start slow, but I will give them credit to at least they looked fine this game. I mean, they were a pass interference call away from maybe potentially winning this game, at least making it a lot easier. But
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the pass interference is justifiable.
no,
Like,
yeah,
it's
100%,
frustrating.
100%.
As a fan who doesn't like to watch the Chiefs succeed, sorry,
I had PTSD.
it's frustrating to see them do that. But this is one of those occasions where I'm like, it's the right call. There's other times where, like in the Eagles game against in the Super Bowl, I'm like, that's questionable. It's the right call this time. It sucks to let those kind of things dictate the game, but it comes down to they didn't make enough big plays. They kind of didn't manage the clock as well as they could have in late in the game. Um, Jamar Chase kind of pseudo ruins a drive for them by just completely going bananas. Um, but they look better, like you said. Their run game is still suspect, which is I think going to hamper them a little bit. They're really going to miss Joe Mixon. Like I really do think this offense is going to miss Joe Mixon. They're missing T Higgins as well. But this rookie kid, what's his name?
It
I
starts
want to
with an
call him
I.
Ilyasova.
It's not
I want to call him
Ilyasova. It's
Ilyasova.
Io.
No,
Not.
I know.
It's Io
I want to call
something.
him
I don't know how
Aaron.
to pronounce it, but I know who you're talking
Well,
about.
not Aaron Ilyasova.
Son
I mean,
Ilyasova. Yeah, he switched sports,
not
bro.
not not Ilyasova had 2 catches for 7 yards, 2 tutties.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's encouraging for the Bengals. Um, I mean, Mahomes didn't look great, but he won them the game. They went on a Butker field goal. But one team's 2-0, the other team's 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Bengals 0-2 again. They got some soul searching to do. They play in a competitive division in the sense that it's always ugly. Thankfully for the Bengals, Commanders and Panthers next 2
Yep.
weeks. Going into
Perfect
week
bounce
5
back game.
against going into week 5 against the Ravens, if they're not 2-2, then it's alarm bells. Like, holy crap, Zach Taylor gotta go type of alarm bells. Until then though, I expect them to be 2-2. They look better than last week where they kind of just got manhandled by the Patriots, but it's the Chiefs. Like, we kind of expected them to lose this game. It sucks. The better team won this game. It really is what it comes down to.
Yep, most certainly. Nothing else to add.
Um, Sunday Night Football happens.
The Caleb
It
Williams
was a game.
experience.
Oh, it's such a bad game. I really, I hated watching this game.
I, I I
From
will
this,
say I don't understand how Texans and Bears got the Sunday night nod, but it was
yeah.
not
How did
dom.
Chiefs probably didn't get it because they had the Thursday night from the week before. But yeah, I
I
don't see how they didn't get Sunday Night Football. I guess
mhm.
they really wanted to hype up this Caleb Williams CJ Stroud matchup. But uh, I mean, Caleb looked. I'll granted, he looked astronomically better than he did in week 1. It's night and day. But I'm gonna say exactly what I told Chris while we were watching the game together. I said Caleb Williams just threw an amazing ball into triple coverage that would have been a touchdown in college. It was a great ball into triple coverage. If you watch the game, you know the play I'm talking about. He rolls out to his right and just throws an incredible deep ball, literally into triple coverage, and it gets picked off.
I'm
And I'm
sorry.
like, yep, that that's indicative of the rookie experience.
I'm sorry. Those words together are always gonna make me laugh. An amazing ball into
I
triple
know,
coverage. I know, and I
I
get it.
know.
I saw the play. It's like, yeah, that's one you see in the college highlights, like you said. But
Yeah,
you're playing
100%.
against grown man
Um,
now. That's not happening anymore.
that's the thing, and the anytime I was listening to the commentators, they were kind of saying similar things. A lot of things that Caleb was doing, it's like he's rolling out, and yeah, probably that play he makes 5 or 6 guys miss in college, but these grown men are just as fast as you are in the NFL. Like they process things just as quick as you do. You're gonna have to adapt to the game. I think Caleb Williams can adapt to the game. I mean, all honesty, Rome Odunze drops a touchdown in the end zone from Caleb Williams. Like, just straight up dropped it. Um, you're brought in to be this big receiver, end zone threat. Throws you a great ball. I mean, he had some misplays as well. Caleb did to DJ Moore on a couple plays. On the flip side, that CJ Stroud Nico Collins connection is just
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it's one of those we overthought again going into this year, especially if like you're into NFL fantasy. It's like, okay, who's gonna be this
Nico
wide
is wide
receiver
receiver
one?
1
Mm-hmm.
and not even close. Stephon
Exactly.
Diggs 2, Tank Dell 3. Dalton Schultz gets forgot on this
For
offense. Like,
real.
he is
Talented
a
tight end too. Crazy how it's how stacked this receiving core is.
yeah. I mean, Joe Mixon didn't have the best of games, production wise, but CJ Stroud got him going. Amy Fairbairn had a great game. I want to say he for
He had
sure
a
had two 50-yard
he had
field
a
goals,
58
but
yarder,
he
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
yeah, 53, 59,
59.
47,
There you go.
56. Like holy crap, Taimi. Like that again, at league wide we've been seeing touchdowns down, especially passing. Field goal kickers this year, holy moly. Like I have like, oh my god, like it was the biggest thing in the world when Jake Elliott hit that 60+ yarder against the Giants that one year. Um, like to win them that game in that
Yep.
Nick Foles year, like that was a big deal then. Now it's just like 60-yard automatic. Like it's not even a question. Like there's no thought goes into it. It's like, oh, it's a 55, 60-yarder. Brought him out there. I'm like,
I keep wanting to see like at the end of a half someone try 70 yarder because like
just F it.
just
Why not?
for fun. Like every time
For
I
the
see a team
memes.
throw a Hail Mary in that situation, I get so upset cuz I'm like, you have a kicker with a leg, let them try it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. Um, but I mean, the big thing here for Caleb, 37 dropbacks, pass attempts, pressured on 36.
Mhm.
That's losing football. Like that's part of the reason why, as a Patriots fan, I'm like, yeah, maybe Drake May can sit
Chill.
on the bench for a couple of weeks because I don't want him to be. I'd much prefer him be vertical than horizontal because Williams was getting smashed a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I'm like, this kid's gonna be Andrew Luck if someone doesn't protect him. But hey, Texans 2-0. They protect home field. Bears 1-1. They finally scored an offensive touchdown. This was the expected
Hooray.
result of this game. Said hooray. Uh, Something Chris will not be hurraying.
Eagles lose in
Okay,
dramatic fashion. 22-21 against the Falcons. Absolutely blew it in the last seconds. And there's so many things we can start with here. And there's going to be a ton of
Nick
different blame.
Sirianni, you.
Mm-hmm. And,
I feel
and,
like coaching is. I'm sorry, as a citizen, a
mm-hmm.
general citizen, I feel like we have complicated the game, and it's just not that fucking hard. Like
Yeah.
coaching, sometimes I feel like is not that effing hard. Like, why are we overthinking it? Like, I get it. Saquon dropped the ball. He dropped it. Like, clear as day, dropped it. But, bro, why are you taking chance? Why are you taking? You're taking a bigger risk by doing that. I get it. Like that seals the game. But it was what, third and three, third and
Mm-hmm. It's
four.
third
We're
and
talking.
three. And I, that's kind
Just
of been
give
the
the ball to
dis.
Saquon, who has been averaging like 7 yards a carry, even
Mm-hmm.
if they stack the box. Okay, you get 2 yards, 3 yards. Tush push time.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? If you don't get that, the clock's still running. You gave them an extra 40 to 45 seconds, which in turn gave Kirk Cousins all the time he needed to run a 2-minute offense. It was the game. Like,
Yeah.
it just blows my mind
And
how
and that's the thing. A lot of and Philly media has been kind of divided online over the past 24 hours, basically who to blame. There's people who are like, well, if Saquon gets the right play call, Saquon should have caught the
it's the
ball.
coach.
And then there's people
Coach
in the
called the
other
play.
boat where it's like, what's Nick Sirianni doing? Run the ball. You get rid of those 40, 45 seconds because you're still going to have to kick the field goal. You're up six, if assuming Elliott makes it, which of course he's
At
almost
the end of the
automatic.
day, nobody blames Russell Wilson for throwing the pick to
Hmm.
Malcolm Butler. Everyone blames Pete Carroll for not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Why? Because you took an unnecessary risk. You put
Hmm.
the ball in someone else's hands when the easier, more logical, successful play was to just run the simple run. Run the ball. Just run it.
And
I don't
it
understand.
wasn't just
And
that
it was like that
either.
all game. It was like that
Mhm.
all game
You had
long.
the
They
field
kept
goal.
not running the ball.
Hmm.
They we talked about this at halftime. You're not playing the Chiefs. It's not the Super Bowl. Just take the 3 points.
Hmm.
Take the points. It's not that complicated. You left points on the board because you wanted to get cute and you wanted to run your silly little fourth down plays. Like, it's not rocket science. I get it. Dan Campbell is so exciting because he runs all these crazy fourth down plays. Sorry, Nick Sirianni, you're not Dan Campbell.
Hmm.
But also at the end of the day, you got to know when to take your risks. Really, to tie 0-0, you don't want to just go up 3-0. You really want to go for that fourth down conversion. Like, it's really like you think the probability is really that different against a Falcons team in week 2. Like, just take the points. It's
Hmm.
3 points. You don't points aren't free. Just take them.
Yeah, and it was like that all game. Like you said, constant. Let's pass the ball on first and second down instead of hey, Saquon's been
Third and
gashing
nine,
them.
third and nine
Third and
draw
nine
play.
QB
Oh my
draw.
god.
Like tons of questionable play calls, and it's just the Eagles have looked better than they did when they collapsed last season, but it's still like, and they're without AJ Brown, but it really should not be this much of a struggle even without AJ Brown. Like some of it's play calling, some of it's just coaching, and it's a game they should have had. This is gonna hurt later on because now they have the Saints and Buccaneers next. Who, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, oh, we're gonna win those games easy. Now you can convince me we're 0-2. Like those are two losses. So
I
especially
mean,
with
the other big thing here is that, like, you knew what everyone else's records were coming into this game because you played last.
hmm
You knew the Cowboys got upset. in Dallas. You knew they were 1-1. This was a great opportunity to get ahead of them when there won't be a lot of opportunities to do so in your division. You're kind of gonna. I feel like gonna be neck and neck with the Cowboys all year.
Mm-hmm.
How then, after you see them get their asses handed to them, do you go out and embarrass yourself in Philadelphia, Lincoln Field, national television? Just
I also want to bring up one more
again,
thing too. They brought in Vic Fangio to be the stud defensive coordinator, and it's the same thing as last year. Prevent defense, let Kirk Cousins dice you up, no pressure at all. That D line throughout the game could get no pressure. Bryce Huff, their big
mm,
acquisition, 0 tackles through 2 weeks. It's pathetic, and you've spent the Eagles' philosophy has always been spend big on the D line. You have Jalen Carter, you have Jordan Davis, you've brought in Huff, you still have guys from the previous regime.
couldn't
Like,
defend the run, couldn't defend the pass,
mhm,
couldn't do
it's
anything really.
it feels like they're playing better on the back end, and with like you have guys like Zach Bond and Quinion Mitchell who are having moments, but where's the D line in all this? Like, it's frustrating to see because it's always been the Howie Roseman strategy of build the D line, and they're not getting the results. It's
Mm.
it's
And like,
frustrating.
I mean, it feels like for many last year and this year specifically, you guys have kind of found like diamonds in the rough with these linebackers, and I like the linebacker play, but it's like Jalen Carter's in there to rush the passer. Jordan Davis is in there to be your nose tackle, stop the run. You didn't do either. You didn't
Hmm.
stop the run because Bijan ran all over you, and you didn't stop. I mean, you gave Kirk Cousins some pressure, but he was a little bit more mobile than we kind of thought he was. But you're right. It was a lot of let's play back this prevent zone defense. And for most of the game, it didn't matter because Kirk Cousins really wasn't connecting with his receivers, couple drops here and there from his guys. But it felt like you guys played the most prevent possible in those final 2 minutes when I feel like you should have been a little more aggressive. It's like throw that fifth rusher in there, pressure him a little bit more.
It's just with 4-man rushes, they've struggled to get to the QB and apply pressure all game. So you needed to change something up. That didn't happen on that last play, and then you add prevent defense. It was a recipe for disaster. And I think Eagles fans kind of knew it going in, especially after that Saquon drop. They're like, we could really be in for something ugly. And as soon as they started marching down the field, it was almost like you were just waiting for it to happen.
First play on the out route on the left side of the field to I think it was Drake London. He got like that 20-yard pass. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we're watching something happen, and it's not gonna be fun for my friend Chris.
It wasn't. It was not fun at all.
That's the league. Week 2, football is back, so we're still happy.
Kind of.
Chris, at least both of our teams are 1-1.
Yeah.
Tariq's team is 0-2.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
Just
Sorry, Tariq.
remember,
Leave Tariq alone,
Howie
man. He had
Roseman,
a horrible
Howie Roseman,
week.
Howie Roseman didn't pay Daniel Jones. Someone else did.
I mean, he paid Carson Wentz, so I mean, I'm not gonna talk too much right now.
Carson Wentz helps you get to a Super Bowl. That's all that
Yes,
matters.
yes. I'm not debating that. That's
You
tough.
you 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 give him that contract every time if it means a Super Bowl. Apparently, you guys lost that. I didn't realize that was the Nick Foles statue
Yeah,
reveal
that
game.
not
And he
the
was
not the
there.
statue, but like he was retiring as an Eagle. They've had the
Oh,
statue for a minute, but
I feel like anytime the Patriots or Celtics have ever retired someone, we also lose.
hmm wasn't that the last time you retired someone? Wasn't No, I got it backwards. I think no, I'm thinking of the Lakers. I know the Lakers got embarrassed last time they retired someone, but I can't remember the last time y'all did
Yes,
it.
they Lakers embarrassed us when we retired KG.
Okay,
Lakers embarrassed us when we retired Paul Pierce.
that's okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. It's bad juju.
Bad juju is yes, bad juju.
The
Unfortunately,
Chiefs know all about that.
juju,
All right,
bro.
I think
He's buns. He's buns. I'm going to bed.
I think that's our cue. Well, thank you for tuning in, or let us know what you think was the biggest surprise in week 2 and what you're expecting for week 3 down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this type of content, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. Once again, I'm
Like it if you
Chris.
don't like it. I mean, you can hate like it. It's okay. We enjoy you hate likers.
Once again, I'm Chris. Thank you for tuning in. This is my co host, Jacob. Have a good one.
Go Patriots.